My name is Juan Sarmiento and I am the cinematographer of The Voice of Hind Rajab by Kauthar Ben Hania.
الو طوارئ الهلال الاحمر رام الله الضفه الغربيه عمر معك تفضل. الو
The Voice of Hind Rajab tells the story of the volunteers in the Palestinian Red Crescent Society in Ramallah and of the hours in which they were trying to save Hind Rajab, a 6-year-old girl that was trapped in a car in Gaza with her dead relatives in late January 2024.
شو اسمك انت؟
I think Kauthar and I are both very much connected by this sense that the separation between documentary and fiction is a somewhat narrowing approach when thinking about the cinematic medium. But beyond that, I think it was important for us to approach how do we manage to shoot the film and to make the film in a way that the viewer becomes part of the experience of what is happening in the call center and with the volunteers of the Palestinian Red Crescent Society.
معدي في بنت عمرها 6 سنين لسه متخبي جوا السيارة.
بنت عمرها 6 سنين متخبية السيارة؟ والبقية؟
Conceptually, the film was always going to be a handheld film. I didn't even have a tripod or sticks with me. The handheld experience was completely necessary. And Kauthar also really just pushed me to be there and to have no wall between the camera and the characters and what they were experiencing in their performances.
رنا نسرين ايش بعدك تعملي هون؟ مش كان لازم تروحي الصبح؟
بخلص الشغلة الصغيرة ميتة تعب.
What ended up happening is that we oftentimes shot many scenes one after the other without cutting. Many times we shot takes of 30 minutes without stopping. I was just there with them all the time. I shot the film with an Alexa Mini LF and with a very, let's say, reduced set of DNA LF lenses, which had qualities which I very much felt that were organically very akin to what I wanted to achieve for this film. The focus fall-off works beautifully.
بده 8 دقايق عشان يصل البنت.
I discovered by experimenting, playing with focus and iris at the same time, there was a moment where the stick child that Mehdi draws during the day becomes visible for a moment in the bouquet of the shot. And this, you know, by just sheer curiosity and experimentation became the best way to transition into the night.
في صوت طخ ولا فيش صوت طخ؟
That particular shot, which is the kind of like the last shot of the film where we see the real people on the cell phone screen, was shot with a 50mm with a diopter in order to have an even closer focus. You know, I could go to the background of the room and still go very much to the front of where the cell phone is in the same shot.
تقلقيش هينا.
The fact that Hind was afraid of the dark is something which plays a big role in the film and which brought me to think a lot about light and about darkness. I had the whole office space rigged so that I could go from, you know, frontal light to more, you know, less of it, more fill, whatever, in a matter of seconds. We decided that before we started shooting the film, we would go to the beach and we would shoot ocean waves and we would shoot the ocean just to maybe discover how that could become part of the narrative of the film, because Hind was also someone who really loved the ocean. So this scene was a moment where the hectic, very quick movement of the camera needed to relax and needed to calm down and needed to arrive at a point where we allow the characters and also the viewers just to breathe for a second. In that moment, an idea came to me to take a flashlight, and while I was operating the camera, hold the flashlight in front of the lens so that I could flare the lens while Rana was going into this state of meditational trance, so to speak.
غمضي عينيكي وتذكري البحر، تذكري الشمس على البحر، تذكري حالك كيف كنتي تسبحي بالبحر وتلعبي بالمي وبالرمل.
On every film that I do, the most important thing that I ask myself when thinking about the visual narrative is whose perspective is the camera serving? And in this case, these four characters are the ones that inform the way that the camera needs to move. But since it's a film that is also so emotionally intense and so much also driven by Hind's voice, the actors heard Hind's voice for the first time when we were shooting, not before.
الو حبيبتي هنود حبيبتي انا رح اضلني معاكي على الخط تمام لحد ما حدا يجيكي تمام.
I also had an earpiece while I was operating the film, and her voice on my ear, even though I don't speak Arabic, was very much the driving force that informed the way that I moved through the space and the way that the camera approached the characters.
طب عمو ركزي خليكي معي. بدي تحكي لي شو صار عندك خلص. الو.
It is important that films like this exist, and it is important that artists take a stand, and it is important that they use their art to tell the stories and to give voice to people who oftentimes don't have a voice.